Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Hansons-Reed with the Oracle Applications and Technology Users Group. Welcome all to today's webinar, Grant Award Funding to Closeout, which is presented by the Project SIG. Just a couple quick reminders about the webinar. You will be on mute throughout the presentation, but please feel free to send questions at any time in the question box in your control panel. We will have time for questions, so don't be shy if you have them. We are recording this session, and the recording will be available to OATUG members in the knowledge base. If you peek at the chat area, you'll see the link where that will be posted later today. And now I'd like to turn it over to Liz Hahn, who is the coordinator of the Project SIG, and she will introduce the session and our presenter. Thank you, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm excited about today's webinar. So all I want to do is, you guys know what the SIG is, and I wanted to say a few things about it, is we have a LinkedIn page, OATUG Project SIG, that is open for everyone, obviously. And the real purpose of it is to exchange ideas, ask questions. It's not a marketing, sell your company thing, but if you can help people and network and all that, it's great. So I encourage everyone to join it, those that haven't. The second thing I'd like to ask is for you to put in anything you can in the chat. Hannah will take care of it, that either talks about what you would like to know in these webinars, what industry, what modules, what ideas of things that you want to learn on, as well as if you're interested in presenting. We're always looking for new presenters or people to be on our group, and so I really encourage that, because what you want is what we want to do, as well as some of this new stuff that that we'll get in a minute. So those are the things I want to say. Another member of our committee is presenting, and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate it. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining in, taking our time to attend this session on Grant Award Funding to Closeout. My name is Yukwan Missel. I'm the managing partner and founder of Project Expert. Liz, I'm hoping you're able to hear me okay. Please call out if there is any problem with the voice. You able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Liz? All right, fair enough. Thank you. So, I'm, as I said, a managing partner and founder of Project Expert with more than 15 years of experience in delivering, designing project-driven enterprise solutions. Most of the board member with Liz Hahn in Project SIG, and currently based out of United Kingdom. So, without wasting much of your time, I will quickly jump on to the agenda for today. So, in today's session, I am going to cover the conceptual overview of what grants is. I mean, just wanted to set the base right before we, for the interest of those who have not been involved in grants-related projects or businesses, so just to give them a bit of an overview as to what grants is. Then I'll spend some time in explaining you what Oracle Grants Management Solution is all about and how it relates to project portfolio management. Then I have captured a few slides to give you a bit of a glimpse of what the solution is, how it looks, how the actual application looks. Once again, it's not a training, it's not a demonstration, but it's just to give you an overview so that you're able to visualize how the solution looks. And last but not the least, I'll cover the questions that you may have during the session. And if you have any questions after today's session, please feel free to drop a note. I'll provide my email address at the end of the session. All right, so let's talk grants. Okay. So what is a grant, first of all? If I would say, what is a grant from a layman's perspective? It's nothing but sort of a monetary assistance or a financial assistance given by a government agency, could be a foundation, a non-profit organization, or could be another, could be an industrial body, or could be an individual sponsor to fund a particular piece of work or a project, or to achieve certain goals, or to work on usually agreeable deliverables. Sorry. And it's usually sought by the grantee. So somebody, if I need a grant, I would submit a proposal, the sponsor will review it, and if they like my proposal, they may choose to fund the project. But how is it different from a bank loan? I mean, I could pretty much, I mean, if I go and ask for a loan, then it looks similar to, I mean, it's not exactly, it looks similar to a loan. So the major difference between a grant and a loan is, unlike loans, grants are not to be paid back. So this is the money which is given to you, and your sponsor expects that you first achieve the goals for which the money has been given, and keep a close tab on the funds that you're spending that have been given to you. So you need to properly utilize the funds and be able to explain what or be able to monitor the use of those funds from a sponsor perspective. All right, so quickly coming on to the grant cycle. So if I were to say in 6 steps what a grant life cycle would be like, it is explained on this relatively simple diagram here. I mean, I could have added a few more steps, but this is at a high level, this is how a grant life cycle would look like, wherein if I, as a company or a university or any organization, if I want to look for funds, I would look for the sponsors. Once I've looked for the sponsors, I'll prepare my proposal based on their requirements. We'll have discussions with them, and once they have agreed to the proposal, I will get the award. Once I've gotten the award, the job starts actually, wherein I need to then set up the project, set up a roadmap. How am I going to utilize the funds that are being given to me by my sponsor, and how am I going to manage that award? And once we have consumed the funds and we've achieved the goals that we initially targeted for, as an organization, we're going to close the award. So this is at a high level grant life cycle would look like. All right, so now we have an idea what grant is, but how does Oracle help in managing grants? I mean, this is something that we have been talking about. Okay, so this is what a grant is. I understand what it is, but what role does Oracle play in that? So to answer that question, let's talk grant management cloud. Sorry. Okay, but before I talk about grants management cloud, I just want to take a step back because, you know, when I introduced myself, I said that, okay, I'm so-and-so and I have an expertise in projects-driven enterprise solutions. So somebody might say, okay, you were talking about projects, but what do you have to do with grants? So I'll take you a step back and sort of help you understand the whole picture as to where grants management sits in the enterprise PPM applications, and then we'll take it on from there. So I'm just going to take one slide. So if you look at the enterprise footprint, which is quite vast, our project portfolio management applications in Oracle Cloud, grant is one of the pillars, which means that when you use grants, it is nothing but a sort of extension of the project management functionality available in Oracle Cloud, which also means that when you are actually using grant management solution, all the other related functionalities of the project or the features of the project management solution come with it. You can actually utilize your you can actually utilize the functionalities like budgets, forecast, cost control, billing, resource management, task management, all the business intelligence that comes with project management solution on your grants management framework as well. So with that note, let's just jump into what we are going to do in Oracle Grants Management Cloud. If I was to take you a few slides back where I presented a relatively simple diagram with 6 blocks, pre-award process and post-award process. So from that perspective, the role of Oracle Grants Management Solution comes from the post, it's more of a post-award process related solution, wherein once an award has been given to you, that is the time when you actually start using the grants management solution. So this is what Oracle says, but I might choose to, I'll rather argue about that because there are options available wherein you can actually start using this whole solution in the pre-award stage as well. However, I'm going to keep that discussion out of the scope for now, and I'm going to focus on what the post-award process would look like and what are the steps that that entail this the whole grants management cloud solution that we are talking about. So again, simplistically putting it across, it contains 7 steps. First being when you receive an award and you fund the project. You manage the budget on the project based on the amount that has been given to you by your sponsor. You will take care of the cost part. Then once you have gotten the cost on the project, you would definitely receive money. You need money. That money could be either in form of a reimbursement on the expenses or could be in advance that you would need from the sponsor. So we'll talk about that. How would you do the billing? Then, of course, as a grants administrator or as a company who is relies on such fundings, you will have to closely monitor the award performance so that you're able to achieve the goals that you agreed with the sponsor. And then you have certain technical reports. Some of them are like federal, for example, if you're looking at government agency requirements like SS20s, etc., and other documents that you might, 270, sorry, some documents like those that you will have to submit or utilization certificates. So we'll talk about them. So that's and then once you have achieved all of this, the last step is to close the awards. So we'll cover, I'm going to cover each of these steps during the walkthrough. So you would see exactly how the screens appear, how they change when we move from one stage to another, so that you get a bit of a glimpse of how the solution is able to visualize it. All right. So before we go into that, I want to spend a bit of a time to make you understand what an award project is. So we've been talking about project management here. We've been saying that, okay, project management, award management, and Oracle Grants Management Cloud is nothing but an extension of Project Management Cloud. So how is it different? Why do I need a different sort of system? Why can't I use my project management solution? So in this particular slide, I'm trying to capture how an award project, a project which is linked to an award, is different from a project that you would use on a usual basis, like a billable or a capitalizable project. So for those who are new to this, when I define a project in Oracle, it pretty much contains information like what is the name of the project, number, what are the parties involved, what is going to be my work breakdown structure, the tasks, etc. And if there are any assets that I am going to capitalize using that particular project, then I would use the project information. Another part which is, again, common to most of the projects, or it's rather there for all the projects, is the cost structure. So you have a project, you have a cost structure in terms of what are the kind of expenses I'm going to incur in the project, rates, etc. And then if you're using a billable project, you would have a contract associated to it, which means that there's a separate element of contract wherein you can define how you're going to recognize the revenue for the project, how you're going to generate the invoices for the project, how would you manage your unbilled receivables, unearned revenue, etc. So all those kind of things are captured within a framework called project. So this is what a standard project in project portfolio management would look like. It would definitely have project information, but could have resource structure, contract structure based on what behavior that project is meant to exhibit and the purpose for which it was created. Now, what is the difference here with the award projects? When I talk about an award project, it pretty much contains all of these layers or all of these, I would say, dimensions. But one thing which it has in addition to these is an award structure. So now you have a project which is not only linked to a contract, which is not only linked to a work breakdown structure or a cost structure, has a budget, forecast, funding, etc. But also is linked to another object or another data, I would say another layer called awards, which means that from a financial reporting perspective and from numbers perspective, when I look at my project, I can look at the numbers. I can look at my contract and I look at the financial performance. I now also have an option where I can look at the award and I can look at the performance of the award, and that could possibly be the roll-up of multiple projects. So I could have multiple projects sitting under one award, and those are getting funded. And when I look at the award, I can see how they're performing. So it's another dimension that I add to the reporting and to the management of my project. So let's take it from that perspective. Now, now we've talked about, okay, my project is, this is what my grant management solution does. This is what the award project looks like. How does award project, how does award contract project, how do they link each other? I mean, it seems like a lot of information we're trying to put across. Let's see how we link it. I mean, in the case of grants, there are numerous possibilities. And I possibly can't put in all of them on one slide, but I've tried to capture some of them to give you a bit of an idea as to how flexible the solution is and how you could possibly make use of the solution based on your needs. So there's an example where, say, for example, I'm a university, and we have some intern. We have to take care of the pre-award process, and this is what I was kind of alluding when I mentioned that yes, you can also capture the pre-award process. Also, it's not really post-award to Oracle days; it's post-award. So you could actually capture some bit of pre-award processing as well. So here I have, when I have, say I'm a university, I need to set a proposal to government, say, to get some funding for them for a research project, etc. So I could have my internal funding from one of my internal departments funding a project. So here in blue you see my internal sponsor who gives me the money to seek funding from external agencies. So I need to prepare proposals, etc. So this is more of a pre-award process that I'm capturing using Grants Cloud solutions. So pretty much going to be the same. What could further happen is, because of this pre-award process, because of this funding, I finally get a project and I finally get an external sponsor. So I have a sponsor who is funding me, who is ready to give me the money. So I create an award in the system, and that award would further be linked to our project. Okay, so I have an award, I have a project, and they're linked, and I've got an external sponsor in this particular case. Another possibility could be that I have got a funding, but I need to further distribute that funding amongst different projects. So, for example, I have gotten a funding from the federal agency, and they say we are going to sponsor. We're going to give the funding to the university, and they say, okay, we're going to give you this much, 30% or 3 million to the science department, another 2 million to the engineering department. So you want to, and there are specific goals aligned to them. It's the same award, but it needs to be distributed among different departments. So you have an option wherein you could link one award to multiple projects. So one grant, one sponsor, one award, multiple projects. Another option could be wherein I have multiple sponsors, multiple awards funding the same project. So I could have, okay, for this particular project, it's a big one, and I've got some bit of funding from the industry body, say 20%, 30%, and another 70% coming from some other organization. They both provide their separate awards. They need to be tracked separately, but they both belong to the same project. So I could be running a big research and development project wherein I could be getting some funding from the government, and some bit of funding, say from some pharmaceutical company. So I could have different sponsors, same project. So this could be another possibility. Last but not the least, and again, this is again one of the options that we could possibly have, wherein I have a sponsor. That sponsor funds the project, but that project that project in turn is is managed or to be able to cover the work on that project, I've further subcontracted that work to multiple partners. In this particular case, for example, I've got some funding under the program called Horizon European Union, and I've got a project, but me being a construction company, I'm constructing something constructing a bridge or something for European Union or in some part of Europe, and I need to hire different subcontractors to be able to do that work for me. So I'll get multiple partners working for me. Of course, as the grant seeker, I am the one who is responsible for it, but we could use different partners to be able to work on that particular project. All right. So these are some of the possibilities. And again, as I said, this is not a holistic list. This is not the only. These are not the only options you have. You could possibly have a few more permutations and combinations around these blocks that you see here. All right. So now we know what grant is and how it relates to the project. So in some of the slides, in the following slides, I'll try to cover how we define an award and how this grants management cloud system synchronizes with project management cloud and contract management cloud, etc. All right. So now the story is grant manager gets an email, and I'm starting from the post-award process. So it's the first step. We have the sponsor has agreed to award us some funding, and we've received the letter from the sponsor. So I need to now go and set up an award in Oracle. That's my step one. I go to Oracle. So this is the screen that I see. I see my grants management module. I'm the grants administrator here, and I click onto my award screen, awards icon. Once I see this, this is a page that I'm presented with. So this basically is my dashboard, which explains me, which gives me a sort of health check on all the other grants, all the other awards, sorry, that I am managing in terms of what is the elapsed time, how much have I spent in them, if I'm going over budget or under budget. So you could see 3 of my projects are going over budget, 3 of my awards are going over budget. If there are any important dates that are coming in, wherein I need, maybe I'm ending it when I'm going, in a specific phase of the project, or any technical reports is due. So all those dates would be visible to me, and if there is any unallocated funding. So I've gotten the funding from the sponsor, but I haven't assigned it to any project. So those kind of things. So it gives me a sort of a one-stop shop wherein I could see how my award management screen looks like. Oracle gives you.
I just have a quick question on this. Is this, do you have to have PPM to see this view, or is this the one, does it just come with just getting the grants cloud?
Yeah, so you'll have to buy a grants cloud license for it. It's a part of project management. I mean, from a solution perspective, it's a part of project management, but again, it is a separate license for it. You'll have to implement it separately. Does that answer your question, Liz?
Yep, thanks.
All right. Okay. So, and again, the way Oracle works is it depends on how well you negotiate with them. So it might turn out you get a better deal and it works out in the same license, but again, it's always worth checking. They keep changing their license policies and their packages. So yeah, it's worth checking. Anyway, so after that, so this is the screen that is visible to me as a grant administrator when I log into it. So to those who are aware of the system, I've worked in Fusion applications. If you're a project manager, you see a different screen, but here you're an award manager, and this is the screen which is specifically meant for you. So you see I've got projects as a separate icon, a separate link here, and grants management as a separate link here. So yes, you need to have grants management enabled and implemented in order to use this. All right, so I come into this. This is the award management screen that is visible to me. This is option 1. Oracle gives you an option to sort of toggle between 2 options. I think they're coming up with another one, but for now there are just 2 options available. Another option could be relatively old school, wherein you don't see a dashboard, but it's more of a tabular format, wherein you see what are the grants that are managed in terms of the total funding amount. So it depends on how would you want to sort of see the system, how would you prefer to see the information that you can do. It is your choice, and you can sort of configure this at a user level. So once I have gotten the award, so I'm here on the award screen, I'll go and say, okay, I need to now create an award. So just like most of the, I would say, most of the other applications, most of the other objects in Oracle projects, Oracle wanted to, so the idea is that we should be creating award using a template. The idea behind using a template is it makes the award creation process more comprehensive and at the same time simple and standardized from an organization perspective. So it's not left at the behest of grant managers to define their projects. It's a sort of a structured framework, predefined structured framework, using which they need to comply with in order to define their grants. So you have an option where you can quickly select the template. In this particular case, I've gotten a predefined template for a 1-year funded project and what's going to be the award name, number. Some of the fields that you see here, you might not have to provide. You can configure them accordingly. You might choose to award number, create the award numbers automatically, etc. So some of those options are available. There's also one more option available here, which is quick create award. I'm not going to cover this in the demo, but yeah, this is also one of the options that you could use if you don't want to use the template here. So you select the template and I simply just go and create an award. So once an award has been created, this is how my application would look like, wherein I've identified, okay, for this particular award, my primary sponsor is Environmental Protection Agency. So I've gotten some funding from them. They are the one who is going to be giving me the money for this. So, I mean, besides the other options of see the status, etc., I mean, nothing much to highlight here except for the CSDA numbers. So those who are have been involved in managing the federal grants, there is a catalog for federal domestic assistance. So every sponsor has certain numbers associated to the grants that they give. So if you want to mention those numbers here, Oracle gives you an option to sort of capture them. If there are certain keywords you want to capture, there are preferences, proposals, etc. So all that information can be captured. There's train chain, as you could see. We've got details. Then we could do the project split, then we do the funding, and then at the end we'll review it. So I'm just going to cover that quickly. So once we have gotten this award created now, I'm on first page right now, I would go and define the budget period. So I could say, in this particular case, I've got the project for 1 year, so that's the reason I only see one period. But based on if it could be a 10-year grant, 5-year grant, so accordingly I could define my budget periods. The budget period does not really have to comply with your accounting period. Your budget period and your accounting periods could be different. So you could have multiple budget periods. For example, I've got another screenshot where I've got an award with, say, multiple budget periods. You can see I've given them a different number and I've defined my budget periods accordingly. And again, it depends on how you want to set up your project, set up your grants, and that's the way you will set up those multiple budget periods. Once you've done that, the next thing that I wanted to sort of capture was the compliance part. So what could happen is that your sponsor might put in certain terms and conditions for the award. For example, you require a pre-approval for some of the expenses, the airfare is not to be done, or air ticket should not be more than this price, etc. Or you need specific certificates in order to get the money. So all those compliance-related options can be captured here, or information can be captured here. And system is smart enough to do these checks if needed. Then, once I have created this award, I know who my sponsor is, I know what my budget needed, etc. Now is the time when I need to link it to a project. So now, as you could see, the system is not sending you anywhere. So it does not expect that, okay, now you've created the award, go and create a project and come and link it to the grants here. What it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, stay here. It's a one-stop shop. You're not going anywhere else. We'll set up the whole process and then we move out of it. So we'll say, okay, create an associated project. So you have an option where you can create a new project right from the screen, or you could link an existing project. So what could happen is that you might have a project already created, as a part of your sales pipeline where you're capturing costs, etc., you could link that, or you could create a new project. Again, when you're creating a project, so those who understand project template framework, I'm using a project template this time. It's not an award template, it's a project template. I'm creating a project. And I will again define the information in terms of what my project information and name, number, etc. And I'll quickly get along with my project creation. So once my project is created, if there is approval required, it will get approved. And once it gets approved, etc. So I would have project visible here. If I click on this particular triangle here and I'll capture the screenshot, so you'll be able to see all the details also related to the project. So now I have my project, I have my award. The next bit is the funding, the main part, money. From how am I getting the money and from where am I getting the money? So we move on to the next stop in our train chain, which is add funding. Now my funding could be both internal and external. So it doesn't really have to come in from the sponsor only. It could come in from multiple sources for that particular award, as I sort of as I explained in a few slides ago. So we just see. So again, I have a funding. It could be a base funding. So it's the first tranche of money that has been given to me by my sponsor. It could be a supplement funding. So after the initial money, the sponsor could say, okay, we're going to give you this much money after once you achieve this milestone, etc. So it could be a supplement funding as well. You have both direct funding and indirect funding available. So something which is directly coming from the sponsor, some money that you already have or coming in from other sources. And once you've gotten the funding, you allocate it to a specific project. In this particular case, I've got $150,000 worth of funding, 50,000 indirect, 100,000 direct, and I've gotten total funding amount of 150,000 on this particular project. Once I've gotten the funding, I have a complete overview of funding looks like, if there is any unallocated amount. In this particular case, I've just got one project, but I could have multiple projects also, in this case, where I've got multiple funding tranches. So I've tried to capture that screenshot also, just give you a bit of a glimpse of that. So yes, in this particular case, you see I've got another project. I've got base funding of 160,000. Then I got two supplement fundings, 44,000, 78,000 for one project. And there are two projects that I'm dealing with in this particular case. I've got one award, two projects, and multiple funding tranches. Quite flexible, and it's quite scalable from the requirement perspective. So you could actually extend it just the way you like, or as per the requirements. So once we have done that, now we've got the funding on the project. Now the next bit is to submit the contract, because as I said, we are sort of linking up the dots here. So we have got an award, we created a project, we assigned the funding. Now, how do I get the money from the customer or from my sponsor? I need to have a contract in place so that I can raise the invoices or letter of credit, etc., just to be able to get the money. So I'm going to now submit a contract. Submit a contract basically creates a contract for me automatically. Otherwise, those who are aware of setting up a contract in project portfolio management, they would know that it's a fairly elaborated process, a fairly long process. There are a lot of tabs, a lot of fields to fill in. But in case of grants, it's a fairly straightforward process. You're not filling in a lot of information. It's again templatized to a great extent. So here you say you have decided, you pick up the options like what would be the invoice format? I'm just talking about this SF270. So this is one of those, those who worked with federal grants, they know that SF270 is a form that needs to be generated in order for you to get the reimbursement for your expenses or in order for you to get the advances. So that's the form we use. So Oracle provides inbuilt functionality to generate SF270 from the system itself. Other than that, you would define how would you like to recognize the invoice, how would you like to recognize the revenue, etc. So payment terms, etc. So all those kind of things would be visible to you. You can select and you can simply just click on to OK. So now I have my project set up. I have got my award set up. I've got the funding and I've got the contract line. So my grant award is all set up. My step one is sort of completed. I know how grant is, so I know that my grant is now set up in the system. Now I need to move on to the next step. And what my next step was, this is how it looks like when it goes back, is to manage the award budget. So, okay, I've done the cost award setting up part, but I still need to put the budgets in place. It's in general required if you're using grants management, but again, it's a choice that you have. You might choose not to use the budgetary controls, but I mean, I've not come across any client who implemented grants and did not use budgetary controls, but again, there are exceptions, and I'm definitely not say for sure that it won't be used or it will be used. So yes, once you've set up the project and awards, now you need to set up the budgetary control so that you can control the expenses on the project that you're going to incur and keep a close watch on the amount that you're going to spend. So we go back, so this is when I open up my award again, and this here, as you could see, at no point in time I've moved or ventured into any other module. I'm only sticking to grants, the same award. From that award, I can review the contract, I can create a project, I can add a budget, I can do pretty much everything. It's a one-stop shop. I'm not going anywhere else. And this is the most beautiful part about this application, that you're not really going out anywhere else to be able to do your work. From a grant administration perspective, it's all there. And you don't really have to look around for information or go out to multiple places or screens to be able to achieve what you need. So here I go and click on to add budget. In this particular case, I've got just one project. Had there been multiple, all would have been stacked up here under this award project for this particular grant. So once I go there, the system automatically takes me to the budget entry screen. I can enter the budget, whatever number I wanted to. I mean, it's a standard screen that you would see if you are using project portfolio management or if you've used project portfolio management in cloud applications. In fact, quite similar to EBS also. It's the same framework that we use. If you have implemented the budgetary controls, system automatically creates control budgets for you so that you have 3 budget versions then created for you. And we'll tell you what exactly is the budget amount. So in this case, I've got my budget amount of 150,000. You could see it's already there. As of now, the sign shows that I've not spent any money, so it's sort of an underspending project, but yes, this is going to change. I can see different budget versions from our control budget balances from this list of values there. If there are multiple projects, as I said, you would see all of them stacked up here. In this particular case, I was doing good. As you can see, I have my project level control budget, resource level control budget, and the budget that I would have created at the planning level. So all those budget versions could be visible. In a nutshell, you have pretty much all the options that you would have in project portfolio management available to you from the award management screen. You're not going out anywhere to do this much. If there is any allocated funding, I could see it here. And again, this is what the budget would look like. Now, I have done the budgeting part, I've submitted the budgeting part, and now my basic setup is all done. I've got my grants management system up and running. So now I need to do is just get the cost and invoice it. Simple as that. So yes, so I need to just review the cost. So from a costing perspective, as I said, it follows it's an extension of project management solution. So it shares the same framework for cost processing like for any other kind of project. So it's no different from that. You can actually calculate and apply your cost calculus burdening. So those who are aware, it's an option wherein you can calculate indirect costs based on certain predefined rates, etc. So you can calculate the indirect costs. You can have specific rates for an award, etc. So all of that functionality is available to you. Nothing changes from there. Just that there is a separate role called grants accountant. So those who use projects, there's a role called projects accountant. For grants administration, there's a separate role called grants accountant for you to be able to see the cost on the award. And again, there are 2 additional fields that are available to you at the time of transaction entry. So those who are aware of projects, you provide the project number, task number, expenditure type, etc. But now there are 2 additional fields fields like contract number and funding source that you would fields like contract number and funding source that you would require to furnish or that needs to be populated. Now, once I've done that, so this is basically again a one-stop shop wherein I'm again once again not going anywhere. If I need to check what is the cost of my project, I can simply just click on to manage project cost. It takes me to the cost workbench. If I need to see what are the commitments on this, just click on to manage committed costs. If I need to see the cost distributions, I can see it from there. I'm not going anywhere else. I don't really need access to the projects module to be able to manage my grants. All the options are available on the award itself. I wish they had created something similar for projects, because in projects that you have to sort of juggle between multiple screens, but here it's relatively simple. So now, these are the fields that I was talking about. So from an expenditure item perspective, it's just the same, but you could see the contract number and funding source. These are the two fields which you would populate if the transaction is related to an award project. Now, we have done the costing bit. Now the fourth bit, which is the billing, and which is perhaps the most interesting bit, where I'm actually getting the money. Now, I could be getting money as a reimbursement. I could be getting money as a form of advance. So how do I get this? So I could be in the form of a letter of credit, or again, it's a 270, or in some cases, I know that they need to provide utilization certificates to be able to get the funds released. So based on your need, there are options available. And if there are not seeded options available, you always have an option to use BI Publisher to create your specific invoice format to cater to the requirements of the award. So yes, you can bill using a letter of credit or a standard invoice format. You have got predefined as a 270, and there are certain more reports that Oracle is trying to come up with in I think in some releases this year. So yeah, will be there. In terms of revenue, you have multiple options to recognize the revenue. Depends on your choice how you want to recognize it: milestone-based, percent spent, cost-based, billed, invoice-based, etc. So all the options that are available to you in project portfolio management or enterprise contract management, those are available to you here as well. It's the same framework, same screens, nothing changes there. Revenue review by contract. So you have an option where you can actually review your revenue numbers by contract, award, project. As I said, it's an additional dimension added to your reporting framework for project perspective. So yes, now all the numbers that we see in projects, now you have another lens to it, another way of looking at it from the awards perspective. Again, there's a separate role called grants accountant to manage revenue and cost. So this is one of the screenshots that I captured. Say, for example, you're defining a contract, you define the federal invoice format. I also highlighted it in a few screens back, but yeah, a few slides back, sorry. But this is, again, very new. Identified if you're using it at 270. So 270 is purely for the organization which to deal with U.S. federal grants to the companies or the universities or agencies who do not deal with U.S. authorities or implement grants management cloud in other parts of the world might not be required for them. So they'll have to have their own format or use existing invoice. This is how, for example, this is what I was trying to say. So once you have an invoice created in the system, you can simply just click onto review as a 270 if this is what your project wants, and you can generate it right from the system itself. So this is how it looks like. Okay, it complies with the actual structure and framework that the federal grants are required to entail. So yeah, it complies from that perspective. Now, I have got my billing done, but another bigger aspect is my revenue and billing activities are completed, but I need to now review the impact of the activities on the overall award. So I'm going to now see how to see the health of the award, exactly how is it doing, etc. Once again, all the dashboards that are available in projects module are available to you. You can actually review the performance of the underlying projects in an award. So if you're I'm a grant administrator, but they're different project managers, so they can continue to still manage their project performance based on using these standard dashboards, etc. We have an award overview page wherein you could quickly visualize the one that I showed when you click onto the award screen. So you have an option, the dashboard with some charts on it showing you overspend, underspend, etc. And again, you can drill into, so this was basically the screen that I was referring to. So when you go to the Manage Award screen and you hover a little bit over on the award that you want to review, it will show you sort of a snapshot of what it looks like. You can further go into the award home and can drill into the details if needed. Another option, as I said, the grants overview page. It's like a one-stop shop, so you could see where your grant sits at the moment, what is the total funding, if there is any unallocated funding, each project, what is the budget amount, commitment amount, etc. Their financial health for each of the budgets that you have, and you could have different kind of budgets for the project. So all those budgets, you could review their performance on the same screen, not going that much. And of course, things like the checkbox, I can define certain KPIs to be able to sort of which will highlight to me if there is something wrong going in with the award or the project. So it's basically management by exception. So we're managing based on only those where we have encountered certain issues or exceptions. Right, this is again one of the dashboards that we sort of created with one of our clients earlier. So just thought we'll just share with you. So again, this is done in OBI. So I have gotten my award sorted, and I know I've gotten just 10 minutes left to wrap up this little presentation, so I'll try and rush it up so I have some time for the questions. So yes, now I need to comply with the billing and reporting requirements from sponsors and internal control via. So I have various options available. Let's see. As I said, you have an option to generate a 70 different invoice formats. OBI is always there to comply with specific requirements, reporting requirements that you have in your grant. There's also another option that has been given to you, wherein, again, if you're using this in the United States, if you have any federal grants that you manage, then you have an option where you can generate federal financial reports right from the award itself. So if you see, this is the award that I was talking about. If I just expand this action menu a little, on the far right, I could see this generate federal financial reports, and it sort of opens up this option for me wherein I know who's going to be the certifying official, who's going to be the principal investigator. I can define different parameters and whether it's a quarterly report or a monthly report or an annual report, and accordingly I could generate the federal financial report for this particular report. Oh, last but not the least, I have gotten everything sorted. I have set up an award, created the budget, everything went fine. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve. Now it's time to close the award, number 7 in the chain of events that I had highlighted at the start of the session today. So it's fairly simple. Your award is directly linked to the contract. So the underlying contract basically controls the status of the award. In this particular case, as you can see, my award is in active status when I created it. There is a contract linked to it. So the moment I close the contract, it will automatically impact the award, and we'll take it on from there. So again, there are options to control it, how we want to utilize it, how we want to manage it, etc. But predominantly, it's like I close the contract, closes the award, and that's where it rests. So yes, that's pretty much the introduction of grants management. I fully appreciate this was rather quick. I had 58 slides to cover, to be precise, and it's definitely not the training that it's a very detailed topic, of course, require far more drilling into. But yeah, from an overview perspective, this is what grants management solution has to offer. It's a very flexible and a scalable solution, so to say, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to you guys using it. That being said, I'm open for questions now. So if you have any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, I got some questions. Hannah, me too. So I'm curious what, there are a couple of questions in this one. Do you know the major differences between EBS grants and cloud? And is cloud grants harder to implement?
Well, again, I think it's a matter of perspective. Certainly, I mean, from a grants perspective, if you're an EBS person, you know that in EBS projects billing is not very rigidly controlled by contracts. However, in grants Fusion Cloud, it's quite the control is quite rigid, so you're more controlled by contracts. So from my perspective, I find grants management solution and cloud more robust. But yes, because EBS is not a cloud-based solution, it gives you more options to sort of extend it as per your needs. So it's a matter of choice, I would say.
Yeah, and that was one of my questions too. You know, have you done like external type of customizations that ultimately feed through middleware into cloud because of that limitation?
I mean, yes, of course, and a lot of partners were doing this now, wherein they sort of develop extensions and which kind of interacts with the cloud solution using web services, etc. So yes, I've been involved in some of those solutions, and that is being done. Again, it's a choice that you as, if you're an implementer, that you need to make how justified that extension is. And again, as a customer, that you need to make how justified the extension would be from a long-term investment perspective. I've come across certain clients wherein the sponsor was not really comfortable with them using any third-party solution other than Oracle. So there was a bit of a hitch there. So you might want to check on that before we sort of propose anything.
And
they were quite, sorry.
One of the things I wonder is if you're like whatever hospital or any of these nonprofits, and so grants is critical, right, to your operation. Have you seen any trainings for the specific cloud application? Or is that just part of, the certification when your projects isn't included?
So if I'll be very honest with you, Oracle has a 15-minute video in their certification program for, they do not have a specific certification for grants management cloud or a specific training module for grants management cloud. They, as I said, have a 15-minute video or maybe less than 15 minutes covering grants management. So what I've covered is far more details than what Oracle covers in their training module. Yeah, so I'm afraid I'm not aware of any trainings that Oracle provides that are available on grants management.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So you're our expert. So if people are interested in doing this, they could go to the LinkedIn and start asking you questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address, info@projectexpert.com. Send your questions, feedback. If not me, somebody in my team will pick it up and definitely respond to you. And yeah, I'm reachable. So if you need more information, there's my website. Reach out to me, no problem.
Great.
Looking forward to it.
The other question is, what are the greatest challenges you've had implementing this to your clients?
One of the things that I have sort of encountered is when we talk about grants management solution, and specifically in the scenarios of universities, I've come across that people sort of mistake it to be student management cloud. It's not a student management cloud. It's not something which talks about managing the student fee, etc. So people sort of do not distinguish between the two, and I have time sort of managing those expectations. Another challenge, of course, was managing the requirements of encumbrance accounting with budgetary controls and grants management. So yeah, those are a few of the things that I found particularly challenging.
And you know, when you went through the billing piece, is that something that's common? Like, is that for an annual grants award, or is it something mandatory to get the data into this module?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you're not using, if you're not using contracts, then how are you going to get the money from the sponsor? You need to have contracts in place in order to use it.
Oh, got it, got it.
Yeah. Okay, so is that all that we have today?
It looks like all the questions, so I wanted to say again a huge thank you, Yuan, for joining us, and thank you to the Project SIG and Liz for hosting this and coordinating this.